looked at it several times to make sure that I didn't make a mistake. And it was just fantastic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hanging Out with Successful Art Takers. And today we are doing an interview that I've waited a very long time for. I know that you have as well, Marvin. And we are talking to a successful Florida bar taker. Marvin, welcome to the show and congratulations. What a great accomplishment.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, you have persevered when a lot of people would have given up and walked away and said, I can't do it. It's just not worth it. You didn't do that. And so I'd like you to tell your story however you'd like to tell it, because I think people are going to be blown away by what you did.
When I first took the test, I had no clue as to what sources or what resources was out there available. And I stumbled across your program. I had a little doubts about it because I didn't know what to do or how to go about it. But I took the interview with you. You told me about the program. You told me what I needed to do. And you told me that you can get me here. And it took longer than I expected, but that was not on you. It was on me. You got me here. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that. That was one of the best decisions that I made.
Had to be a great moment when you got your score from this February exam.
Yes, it was truly amazing. I had taken this exam maybe 8 times, and each time it was difficult preparing for the exam and then actually taking it and then waiting for those results and then finding out that you failed by 1 or 2 points. And that happened to me several times, and it was a bit debilitating. It took a whole lot out of me. And as you stated, a lot of people may have just given up, but I'm grateful for you and for your staff for assisting me with maintaining the perseverance to get through this, because it's very difficult taking the test multiple times and failing multiple times. Come to think that you're a failure, that, you can't do this and that it's impossible. But through your program and through the process, the interactions, the teaching, through everything that you set up, it reassured me that I can do it. And the mindset activities, it reassured me that I can do this. And your constant repetition or telling me that I have something that people out there need, and all I need to do is get past the exam so that I can give them that. That was more than what I needed to overcome, the failures, and know that at some point, if I just do as you instruct me to do, that I will overcome and pass. And I did.
I'm probably going to cry here. You have become a very dear friend to me, Marvin, and it pained me greatly when you failed by a point or 2 points. And that happened multiple times. I can't even tell you how often. And yet you, a spirit of perseverance and determination. And you encouraged me sometimes when I thought, oh my gosh, I just don't know how he can get back up there again and take another swing at this. And yet you kept doing it. And we had the pleasure of hosting you for a boot camp and teaching you photo reading and all these other skills. And I really felt after boot camp, he's going to be able to do it. And it's just a question of when, not if. But I know it had to be really hard on you during that period too.
It was, but then the thing about it is that you gave me the tools that I needed. I just needed to utilize those tools. And to be honest, I took the tools and I used them, but then I did not utilize them to the full extent that you had employed me to do. And once I stopped fighting, meaning I wanted to do things my way, but then I would take your lead. And then I had to come to the understanding that you've been doing this for over 30 years. And I've been doing it at least 8 times. And I haven't gotten it together yet. So all I have to do is just take me out of the equation in the sense of trying to give direction and follow your instructions. And when I did that, I was successful. You've already laid out the plans. So you're the coach and I'm the player. And all I have to do is follow your instructions and I'll get to the finish line. And that's what I did.
Yeah. I'm going to jump ahead. I usually ask this question near the end of the interview, but I just want to know what it was like when you saw the score.
It was the most overwhelming point in my entire life because I've had the memory of failure for at least 8 times. And it was maybe one of the most difficult thing to just set aside. But you had lectures where you talked about that, forgetting the failures and focus on finish line of the successes that you want, the mindset activities, those things came into play. So it was just a culmination of hard work, understanding, following your plan, and just doing what was necessary to do. And that's what brought me to that point.
And when you saw the score, when it came across on your computer and you see the score, it's just gotta be, you said it's the most powerful moment in your life, but who did you share that result with? How did you tell people?
I wept. I didn't cry. I wept because it was very overwhelming having failed several times before and then seeing your name on the pass list. It was just overwhelming for me. I was overwhelmed with joy. And it
As you
took
should be.
a few days for that to settle in. And I looked at it several times to make sure that I didn't make a mistake. And it was just fantastic just to know that, for one thing, that this is all over and I won't have to do this again. And that actually you have a slogan, make this your last exam, and this is my last exam.
I get that. I want to talk a little bit about the tools that you used and the way that you studied, because I know that there are a lot of people out there that are in the similar situation. The repeat taker pass rate in Florida was very low, less than 30%. And so it's a very steep hill to climb when you have to retake the exam. You used photo reading as one of the tools. Could you talk a little bit about that to our audience?
Photo reading, I think, aside from the mindset aspects of your program, was the most influential or most important aspect of the whole study process. What it did was it made things a lot clearer, and I had to spend less time reading because it allowed me to comprehend and cover a whole lot of material in a shorter period of time. And also, I think it says that you would have 70% comprehension. I think in the later stages, mine came up to about 80, 85%. It's just a whole lot easier.
And you learned photo reading at boot camp. Could we talk a little bit about boot camp, what that process was like? Would you recommend boot camp to people?
When I originally took it, I thought it was probably one of the most expensive aspects of the program. But to be honest, that was the best investment that I made. The investment in boot camp made the whole process of understanding how to prepare for the exam a whole lot easier than it would have been had I not done it. Just taking the basic course will get me where I need to be, but the photo reading aspect of it ensured that I would be where I needed to be. In terms of comprehension and being able to cover so much information in a short period of time, it made that very easy and doable.
So we're just about to do a boot camp, and we've got a couple seats left as we're recording today. What would your advice be to somebody who's on the fence and they're saying, I got to spend money, I got to travel, I got to do this? Is it worth doing?
It's a lot cheaper spending whatever the cost is for the program and passing the exam than it is sitting back trying to take the exam again and wondering whether or not that investment would have got you over the hurdle. You spending $1,500 for a program, but losing over $100,000 worth of money that you could have made by passing the exam and being sworn into practice. I think that spending that little bit of money outweighs what you're trying to say. Yes, spend the money, get the experience, learn what you need to learn, pass this exam, and put it behind you.
Yeah. And one of the reasons that I was so excited about your success, Marvin, is that I know you're down in South Florida and your presence in the bar makes a difference, right? One of the reasons that I think it's so important to see a success like yours is that I know that you make a difference in the bar and in your community. What would you tell somebody who is trying to get into the bar, but having this resistance because it's such a tough exam? And maybe they're thinking to themselves, I should just give up. I should just,
First of all, if you were able to get through law school, you would be able to get through the bar exam. What you need is to have the right instructor or the right resources in order to do that. Jackson said on several occasions that, his students are here because they're supposed to be here. It's no accident that you are here. Yes, the bar exam isn't easy, but it's a doable thing. But as long as you utilize the resources that you have available, this is something that you can pass. And if I pass it, anyone else can.
Yeah. Listen, don't sell yourself short. You worked really hard through those tries, but leading up to this last February exam, let's talk a little bit about how you studied. How many hours a week would you say you were putting in?
I would say an average of maybe 20 to 30 hours. I think you had advised no more than about 20, but this is one of those things that you said before. Take the practice exams or basically study the bar exam according to the time allotments that you prescribe and just trust the process. My thing was this, I did exactly what you said, but I put more time into writing the essays because for me, that was a weakness. So in terms of the times that you allotted to use for study purposes, I did that. But the extra time that I mentioned, I utilized that in the writing process because the writing process was my weakness.
Yeah. And we did some coaching on your writing, and I think that was helpful for you, right? We had to move your writing from law school writing and traditional writing for the bar to this different form. And you adopted that as your writing style. Do you think it made a difference by the time you got to the last exam?
It made a big difference because the process that you gave me allowed me not to have that, I think you called it that robbing the bank mentality,
Yeah.
meaning that a lot of times taking the essay portion, it gives you a mental shock and everything that you learn starts to clutter. But what it did was it gave me an ability to organize properly. It gave me the confidence to write accordingly. And it gave me the ability just to write what I'm supposed to write and not issue spotting. So it prevented me from issue spotting and just attacking from a standpoint of knowing what the conflicts were. So what it does is it teaches you to focus on the conflicts. So instead of issue spotting, which I was doing the first few times, and by utilizing your writing process, it was making me a disciplined writer. So this time, no matter what they threw at me, I was prepared to write on it and pass it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
It's awesome. It's just so awesome. Folks, if you don't know, this is the first time Marvin and I have had a chance to talk since the results have come out. This is not pre-planned. This is a moment when your results came out, Marvin, it stopped me dead in my tracks. I stopped. I did an old guy version of a happy dance. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so incredibly wonderful and deserved because I know how hard you had worked and much you had put into this and how much you'd had to humble yourself, right? To go back in and do this and work through this and learn these skills and go at them. And one of the things I really appreciated was that you owned it, right? When you weren't all in, you owned that and said, look, it's on me. And then when you began to realize that you had to get really into the whole thing, somebody else said, drink the Kool-Aid, then it started to get real and your scores went right up. And then it went right to the edge. And 135, are you kidding me? That's the moment when a lot of people just walk away and say, there's just no way I'm going to get over it. But you didn't. And man, I'm proud.
Again, I would like to thank you personally, Jackson. The many years way back when this idea came to you to develop this course, and you allowed not only myself, but hundreds of other students who might have not been in this situation, but for you to be able to get across this hurdle. The bar exam isn't easy, but the process that you equipped us with, the writing style that you've given us, the other tools that you've given us to complement and supplement our studies, I'm grateful and I'm thankful for you for that. My family, my children, my descendants would be grateful for you and what you've done. And I'm, again, grateful that you took the time out to work with me repeatedly to get to the point that I'm at now. Because without you, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Thank you. I want to talk about your children a little bit and your family. This process they had to go through with you, right? And it meant a lot of missed time and just this constant sense of you studying and taking the test and then the agony when you came close and didn't make it. What's it been like for them since you got these results?
They ecstatic because now their father has the opportunity to do things for them that before he never was able to do. My children are activists throughout the community as well. And my ability now to practice law enhances our ability to positively impact our community. So what that has done is my son, he's a music engineer and he's decided to go to law school even after being a music engineer because he says if his father can overcome the hurdles, then he can do the same thing and be more of an asset to his community. So that in itself is overwhelming again to me to be honored by my family to the point where they would like to walk in the shoes that I'm walking in.
Wow, what an
Yes, it is.
oh my gosh. I hope I get the honor of working with him when he gets out of law school. Marvin, I know you are an activist. I know that has put a target on your back sometimes. And so I am, I think, doubly or triply excited to see you get into the arena here and begin to do this work. I'm so glad that you didn't give up. And I know that your story will inspire a ton of people. What else would you say to someone who has felt the sting of discouragement on a bar exam?
The thing is this, your mindset has to change. Yes, you might have failed, and you might have failed several times, but sometimes you have to fail your way into success. And at other times, you have to remember just because you failed, it doesn't make you a failure. You just have to go ahead and change your mindset as to what it is you want to achieve. And if you have resources like Jackson, you better utilize it because he's going to get you where you need to be.
Thank you so much, my friend. Listen, I am grateful that you would share your story today. I know that it will inspire a ton of people. I hope that you will stay involved in our community because I know that you've been part of our group coaching and part of the boot camps. And I know that means a lot to our existing students. And I'm excited to see what you do in your community. I know it's going to be